Good day everyone, this is Ma'am Aduko and today's video I will be giving you the first part of the greatest mathematicians of all time for Let Math Major review. I will be giving you their names and their great contributions to mathematics. And if you are not yet subscribed, please do and push the notification button for new videos. Isaac Newton, English mathematician, physicist, astronomer, theologian, and author. He is famous for his mathematical principles of natural philosophy, became the catalyst to understanding mechanics. He is also the person credited for the development of the binomial theorem. His notable works were the method of fluxions and infinite series and optics. Archimedes, Greek mathematician, physicist, engineer, inventor, and astronomer. Archimedes is famous for being the one who founded the sciences of mechanics and hydrostatic, calculated pi precisely, devised the law of exponents, created new geometrical proofs, discovered and mathematically proved the formulas for the volume and surface area of a sphere, invented one of the most fundamental concepts of physics, which is the center of gravity, discovered the laws of levers and pulleys, which allow us to move heavy objects using small forces. Carl Friedrich Gauss, German mathematician. Carl Friedrich Gauss is famous for his construction of a regular 17-sided figure, the heptadecagon, by straight edge and compass alone. Published one of the greatest works in the history of mathematics, Disquisitiones Arithmeticae. Gauss documented significant breakthroughs such the law of quadratic reciprocity, his formulation of modern modular arithmetic, and congruence, the idea that underpin his unified approach to number theory, rediscovery of planet series. Leonhard Euler, Swiss mathematician. Leonhard Euler is famous for Euler's number in calculus, E, which is approximately equal to 2.71828, and the Euler's Mascheroni constant, gamma, sometimes referred to as just Euler's constant, which is approximately equal to 0.57721. He introduced the concept of a function and was the first to write f of x to denote the function f applied to the argument x. He also introduced the modern notation for the trigonometric functions, the letter E for the base of the natural logarithm, now also known as Euler's number. The Greek letter sigma for summations and the letter I to denote the imaginary unit. The use of the Greek letter pi to denote the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter was also popularized by Euler. Bernhard Riemann, German mathematician. Bernhard Riemann is famous for prime numbers and the Riemann hypothesis. Riemannian geometry completely reformed the field of geometry and became the mathematical foundation of Einstein's general theory of relativity. Jules Henri Poincare, French mathematician. Jules Henri Poincare is famous for his discovery of automorphic functions. He called them Fuchsian and Kleinian functions. Poincare's analysis situs was an early systematic treatment of topology, and he is often called the father of algebraic topology. Became the first person to discover a chaotic deterministic system which laid the foundation of modern chaos theory. Joseph Louis Lagrange, French-Italian mathematician and astronomer. Joseph Louis Lagrange is famous for his treatise on analytical mechanics, invented the method of solving differential equations known as variation of parameters. His treatise, Theorie des Fonctions Analytiques, laid some of the foundations of group theory, introduced the partial derivative notation, and created the first partial differential equations. Euclid, Greek mathematician, authored the Elements, the most famous and most published mathematical work in history. It serves as a textbook to teach geometry and mathematics. His mathematical system is known as Euclidean geometry. Another great work of Euclid is The Optics, explain light's behavior using geometrical principles, the basis of artistic perspective, astronomical methods, and navigation methods for more than 2,000 years. Euclid is considered as the father of geometry. David Hilbert, German mathematician. David Hilbert is famous for his theorems of invariance, Hilbert's axiom, Hilbert's space. Famed for his 23 problems, Hilbert propelled mathematics to new heights. He replaced Euclid's axioms dating from 2,000 years earlier, allowing the unifications of 2D and 3D geometry. And he created Hilbert's space, now essential in advanced physical science. Gottfried W. Leibniz, German mathematician. Gottfried W. Leibniz is famous for his work on infinitesimal calculus, was one completely separate from Isaac Newton. His mathematical notations continues to be in use. He also proposed the mathematical principle known as the transcendental law of homogeneity and the law of continuity. His refining of the binary system has become foundational in mathematics. Inventions of working mechanical calculators based on Pascal's design. Alexandre Grote, German-French mathematician. Alexandre Grote is famous for his creation of modern algebraic geometry. His research extended the scope of the field and added elements of commutative algebra, homological algebra, shift theory, and category theory to its foundations, while his so-called relative perspective led to revolutionary advances in many areas of pure mathematics. Pierre de Firma, French mathematician. Pierre de Firma played a pivotal role in the development of analytic geometry, optics, and probability. His monumental work is considered to be Fermat's last theorem and Fermat's principle for light propagation. Évariste Galois, French mathematician. Évariste Galois was the first to use the word group in mathematics, developed the concept of normal subgroups and finite fields known as Galois field. His most influential contribution to the field is the Galois theory. Unfortunately, Galois died young at the age of 20. John von Neumann, Hungarian-American physicist, computer scientist, and an inventor. John von Neumann is famous for his book, The Mathematical Foundations of Quantum Mechanics, which established a strong mathematical framework for quantum physics, created the field of cellular automata without the aid of computers, constructing the first self-replicating automata with pencil and graph paper. He published The Theory of Games and Economic Behavior in 1944, which detailed a groundbreaking mathematical theory of economic and social organizations based on a theory of games of strategy. Rene Descartes, a French philosopher, mathematician, and a scientist. Rene Descartes is famous for the Cartesian coordinate system in mathematics, which is named after him. As a mathematician, he is seen as the father of analytical geometry, in addition to explaining the infinitesimal calculus and analysis. Karl Weierstrass, German mathematician. Karl Weierstrass is considered as the father of modern analysis, devised tests for the convergence of series, and contributed to the theory of periodic functions, functions of real variables, elliptic functions, abelian functions, converging infinite products, and the calculus of variations. He also advanced the theory of bilinear and quadratic forms. Srinivas Ramanujan, an Indian mathematician. Srinivas Ramanujan is famous for his outstanding discoveries in continued fractions, divergent series, hypergeometric series, Riemann series, and elliptic integrals. His advancement in partition of numbers. He also discovered the theta functions and its 17 identities. Hermann K.H. Weyl, German mathematician, theoretical physicist, and philosopher. Hermann K.H. Weyl is famous for his book on the asymptotic distribution of eigenvalues, in which he proved that the eigenvalues of the Laplacian in the compact domain are distributed according to the so-called Weyl law. First to conceive of combining general relativity with the laws of electromagnetism. Peter G.L. Dirichlet, a German mathematician. Peter G.L. Dirichlet is famous for his contribution to the field of number theory. He created the branch of analytic number theory, introduced the Dirichlet characters and L functions, and proved the Dirichlet unit theorem, a fundamental result in algebraic number theory. He is credited with being one of the first mathematicians to give the modern formal definitions of a function. Niels Henrik Abel, a Norwegian mathematician. Niels Henrik Abel is famous for his first complete proof demonstrating the impossibility of solving the general quintic equation in radicals. An innovator in the field of elliptic functions, discoverer of abelian functions, and his theorem on the addition of algebraic differentials. Brahma Gupta, an Indian mathematician and astronomer. Brahma Gupta established zero as a number and defined its mathematical properties, discovered the formula for solving quadratic equations. He established rules for working with positive and negative numbers. Brahma Gupta's Brahmasphota Siddhanta is the first book that provides rules for arithmetic manipulations that apply to zero and to negative numbers. Major contribution to the field of astronomy by Brahma Gupta are solar and lunar eclipse calculations and methods for calculating the position of heavenly bodies over time. Augustine Cauchy, a French mathematician, an engineer, and physicist. Augustine Cauchy pioneered in analysis and the theory of substitution groups, development of complex function theory, the first pivotal theorem proved by Cauchy, now known as Cauchy's integral theorem, laid the foundations of the mathematical theory of elasticity. Cauchy's three great treatises, courses on analysis from the École Royale Polytechnique, resume of lessons on infinitesimal calculus, and lessons on the applications of infinitesimal calculus to geometry. Arthur Cayley, a British mathematician. Arthur Cayley made important contribution to the algebraic theory of curves and surfaces, group theory, linear algebra, graph theory, combinatorics, and elliptic functions, formalized the theory of matrices. Among Cayley's most important papers were his series of 10 memoirs on quantics, a quantic known today as an algebraic form. It is a polynomial with the same total degree for each term. Established a branch of algebra known as invariant theory. Cayley published his only book, an elementary treatise on elliptic function. Emmy Noether, a German mathematician. Emmy Noether is the most important woman in the history of mathematics. She made important contributions to abstract algebra and theoretical physics. She developed the theories of rings, fields, and algebras. In physics, Noether's theorem explained the connection between symmetry and conservation laws. Noether's theorem has been called one of the most important mathematical theorems ever proved in guiding the development of modern physics. Pythagoras. Pythagoras is a Greek mathematician and a philosopher. Pythagoras believed that the universe was constructed using mathematics and everything could be described with numbers. Pythagoras established a link between mathematics and music, proved the Pythagoras theorem, discovered irrational numbers, and discovered the Platonic Aryabhata, an Indian mathematician and astronomer. Aryabhata is famous for writing the Aryabhatiya and the Arya Siddhanta. Aryabhata's contribution include his work on providing an approximate value to pi. He likewise touched on the concepts of sine, cosine, and the place value system. Leonardo Pisano Bigelow, an Italian mathematician. Leonardo Pisano Bigelow is heralded as the most talented Western mathematician of the Middle Ages. Leonardo Pisano Bigelow is better known as Leonardo Fibonacci. He introduced the Arabic Hindu number system to the Western world. In his book, The Book of Abacus, he included a sequence of numbers that are known today as Fibonacci's numbers. The Book of Square Numbers is considered as Fibonacci's masterpiece. William R. Hamilton, an Irish mathematician. William R. Hamilton is famous for his reformulation of Newtonian mechanics, now called Hamiltonian mechanics, discovered the algebra of quaternions. Hamilton described a quaternion as an ordered four-element multiple of real numbers, and described the first element as the scalar part, and the remaining three as the vector part. Hamilton coined the words tensor and scalar, and was the first to use the word vector in the modern sense. Today, the quaternions are used in computer graphics, control theory, signal processing, and orbital mechanics, mainly for representing rotations or orientations. Invented the Icosian calculus, which he used to investigate closed edge paths on a dodecahedron that visit each vertex exactly once. Apollonius of Perga, a Greek geometer and astronomer. Apollonius of Perga was known by his contemporaries as the Great Geometer, whose treatise Conics is one of the greatest scientific works from the ancient world. Apollonius of Perga introduced the terms ellipse, parabola, and hyperbola. Diophantus of Alexandria, a Greek mathematician. Diophantus of Alexandria solved hundreds of algebraic equations in his great work Arithmetica, first to use algebraic notation and symbolism. Diophantus was the first Greek mathematician who recognized fractions as numbers. Thus, he allowed positive rational numbers for the coefficients and solutions. Muhammad bin Musa alKhawarizmi, a Persian mathematician, geographer, and astronomer. Muhammad bin Musa alKhawarizmi was appointed as the astronomer and head of the library of the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. His treatise on algebra, the compendious book on calculation by completion and balancing, presented the first systematic solution of linear and quadratic equations. He demonstrated how to solve quadratic equations by completing the square, for which he provided geometric justifications. He was the first to treat algebra as an independent discipline and introduced the methods of reduction and balancing. Described as the father or founder of algebra. The term algebra itself comes from the title of his book, specifically the word algeber, meaning completion or rejoining. Al-Khwarizmi introduced Hindu-Arabic numerals under arithmetic to the West. It is preserved only in a Latin translation, algoritmi di numero indurum, from the name of the author rendered in Latin as algorithmi, originated the term algorithm. Thank you for watching our video on the greatest mathematician of all time. As much as possible, try to familiarize these different mathematicians with their contributions to the field of mathematics. To be more effective, you can download this video on audio form so that while you are doing your task, you can listen to my discussion. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new videos for let review, and click like and push the notification buttons. Thank you and have a nice day.